Put a glass box around her and she'll break the glass. If you try to cage her in, she'll light the match. Oh, she's like an animal, it's in her blood. She will turn every chain into dust, into dust. Into dust. Like the wind is free, like the water's deep. She's a burning rush. If you try to take what is everything, watch it turn her life into dust, into
Hey guys, this is Andre once again from Trap Nation. Hope you're all having an incredible year so far. With the success of the last mix we did, I want to do another one, but this time where we showcase our label Lowly Palace. Just a reminder as well, all music in this mix is free to use on YouTube if you include the artist's socials and a streaming or download link to the song in the description. That's enough talking for now though. Enjoy the mix, everyone.
she been in your bedroom and all that, feeling her on your skin. Think I don't know where your head's at. Where do I begin? Wrapping your fingers around her, late at night, drinking. You let it linger, you couldn't quit. I think I'll leave it all behind. Love me a new one. I won't waste my time. Fuck it with you. Oh, let me show you how. Find me another. You can't break me down. Under the covers.
You're the professional. Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, like that.
What up, everybody? It's your host, Serpunk, with another episode of Web3 Weekly Alpha. We have officially hit the 10th episode mark. I appreciate everybody that have been giving me feedback and catching up on the show with me every single week. We love doing it. We'll continue to do it for the weeks to come. we cover everything in the digital renaissance, everything from NFTs to crypto, news, markets, and everything in between. So let's go ahead and dive into everything that happened in the wonderful world of Web3. Starting off with the charts. We love charts. We like to know where price is. Let's always start off with the leader of crypto, Bitcoin. And right now, it looks quite extended. We've had a pretty large move off at the bottom here. And you kind of see we've kind of had like 3 waves up. I'm not calling tops here, but we've got a pretty significant resistance. We've got 3 legs up, and there's a lot of signs of things getting a little bit too heated in the short term. And I'm thinking now with this pretty decent move off the bottom from Bitcoin that at minimum will probably go sideways for some time. But again, I'm not calling tops. But some things that have me a little bit worried is, of course, the typical top signs is when your normie friends that are not in crypto, only in crypto when things are moving up, are texting you after not speaking to them about crypto for over a year. So here I have one normie friend who texted me out of the blue a couple days ago and said, Bitcoin coming back or what? Second friend texted me out of the blue just 2 days ago and said, crypto has a positive up. So typically my friends are great contrarian signals for me to do the opposite. And I love them, but they're not texting me when crypto's, down and you should be accumulating, right? They're texting me when it's up and it's up too much in the short term or long term, and they're usually buying the tops. So keep a hold of that keep a hold of that thought in your mind. And if you're getting these texts from your friends and your family as well, then you know what I'm talking about. Also, everybody on Twitter was going crazy because Michael Saylor, who owns the most Bitcoin in the world, right? I think it's like 4 billion now. He is officially break even on his average price of Bitcoin ownership. As you can see here, the yellow line is how much Saylor's company MicroStrategy, at what price that they own their Bitcoin. The blue line is the price of Bitcoin, and he's officially back to break even. People going a little crazy over it, but that's another sign of people saying, "Oh God, Bitcoin's up again. Sailor's back to break even." All these things is things that gets me a little bit worried in the short term. This is a stat that gets me excited about the long term, right? And we showed this in a couple of previous shows, but I like to remind myself and everybody that many, and now over half of all Bitcoin owners are holding for the long term. And what does that mean? At least 2 years of the Bitcoin, 50% of the Bitcoin supply hasn't moved in that duration. And it's pretty bullish, right? You want more longer term holders in an asset, and that's bullish. So you can see it's at an all-time high. So short term, we might be overheated, but there's several things that still makes me bullish Bitcoin in the long term. But I think Andrew Kang, great follow him for crypto information, but I think he's spot on here where he says Ethereum and altcoins, which are anything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum mainly, they lost a lot of ground against Bitcoin over the last 5 months. Bitcoin has really been the leader. And a lot of other things have not followed as strongly. But the 5 months of rotation into Bitcoin should at some point unwind, and you'll see the other side of the trade start to have its time in the sun, Ethereum and altcoins. So he's kind of showing that relationship here, and we could potentially be breaking out of there. So talking about Ethereum, had a massive move this week, as you can see, ripped right through resistance. And man, that was a hell of a bullish weekly candle close. But this again has had a pretty significant move off the bottom. We may have a little bit of a pullback, but honestly, I think Ethereum looks much stronger than Bitcoin here. And I'm not calling tops on this for sure. But it does look like alt season could potentially be going on right now. So let's take a look at some altcoins. The next Dogecoin, Pepe, is out. I'm totally kidding. This is a shit coin that a lot of people will probably get wrecked on. I just think it's funny that somebody created a Pepe coin, and this is the risky asset that all the degens on the internet are trading right now in crypto, Pepe coin. So try not to get wrecked in that. And now let's jump into some strong altcoin charts that a lot of them are also backed by some pretty good fundamentals relative to a lot of other coins. So you could see INJ here, which had a massive breakout. It's probably broken out the most in this whole cycle in terms of altcoins, and it's more than doubled. So this is, I believe, a DeFi token, and it's done absolutely great. And it's one that we've really been watching, and a few in our chats and communities have been taking advantage of this one. So that's a top choice for us. Optimism, L2s are hot. Optimism, one of the larger L2 ecosystem on Ethereum. I think it's got a really nice chart, even though it had a pretty big move. It's had time to kind of cool off, and maybe this is that second leg up where alts can kind of get going again. Same thing with GMX. GMX is also a DeFi token with a protocol in the DeFi ecosystem where I believe they're doing sort of like perp trading. But when I heard them on the Delphi Digital podcast, they really went in and talked about GMX a little bit more than everything else in the crypto ecosystem, really elaborating on the innovation that they have really brought to the table in DeFi. And it looks like the market is agreeing. So really beautiful long-term chart here, and I love the short-term action. Shout out TXMC. Guys straight dropping alpha on Twitter all the time. But he's also hammering this point that I'm sharing right now, right? So alt season is underway as ETH goes flat following the Shanghai hype. As we had, finally, Ethereum stakers able to unstake their Ethereum. So non-ETH shitcoins finally gaining versus the market. And you can see this in these different line charts here. So crypto breadth was increasing here. Bitcoin, as you can see, was leading while everything else was kind of in a downtrend. But now, like as we said earlier, it's sort of Ethereum and shitcoins' time in the sun as Bitcoin kind of rests after such a large move. So this is more of an exciting time for me to start playing crypto heavily, especially a lot of those altcoins, as you can start to see them perk up as Bitcoin comes down and Ethereum's kind of leading here. So that's what's happening in my thoughts on the crypto market. Let's move into some NFT charts. We always start off with the two leaders, Bored Apes and Mutants. So as you can see, the Bored Ape chart is breaking below support here. It's not been a good week for the Bored Ape price, and I'm going to go into a couple of reasons why. There's been a lot of people selling and things that I think are getting close to a bottom here, but you're seeing this. For now, the price is saying we're below support, and even though it's probably oversold in the short term, there's no signs of reversal yet. So watching Bored Ape, as it's been a leader in the space for a while now. Same thing with Mutant Apes. Mutant Apes aren't doing as bad. I feel like a lot of the Bored Apes were leveraging and doing more degen things and having to sell than the Mutants. So it's this is holding a little bit better. But again, nothing too exciting just yet on the Mutants. I want to see a little bit more reversal. Pudgy Penguins have come all the way back to the breakout level. It's kind of been down only for weeks on end now. It's below the 40th mark. So I'm hoping we can start to hold up at this breakout level. It's normal for breakouts to retest that breakout level. So I'd like to see some sideways action here from Pudgy Penguins. Azuki we've talked about all last show, and the reason why is because there's just so much shit happening with Azukis right now that it's hard not to be bullish. The amount of rich Asians, I don't know if they're Asians, but I believe they're like the Bored Ape Yacht Club of Asia, and they're just buying grails on top of grails for high ticket prices, and you can see that they're showing some of the most strongest strength in the entire NFT market. It's breaking out of this sort of like what I like to call a wedge pop that I got from a trader mentor of mine, and it's breaking right out of that after sort of breaking out, kind of retesting that breakout, and then it's creating its own pattern that is breaking out of again. So if you're bullish NFTs, I feel you need to have Azukis in your portfolio right now. And if you can't afford an Azuki, grab yourself a bean at 1.4 ETH. This is also breaking out of a short pivot here, but if we can get some sort of capitulation and bottom here in NFTs, and I think Azuki and Beans can really have their moment. Not only with the top sales all over Twitter, but with actual price action continuing. Captains, which has been a huge leader as well from the mainland ecosystem, is having a small pullback here at 7 ETH after a big breakout. I wouldn't run here and call tops. This could just be the beginning. I don't know. But super, super strong project. And you always want to be in the strongest shit when we're starting to bottom and capitulate, because that's what the market is saying is going to rip first and probably the hardest when the market turns. So potatoes, also in that meme land ecosystem. Big breakout, pulling back below 3 ETH. But again, I think there's strength, and hopefully the market can get that going going again. Killer Bears has also been a strong one, which did not give much of its move back. It's more of a sideways action after going from pretty much 1.5 to over 4 ETH, not giving much back, and it's now getting a little bit tight and going sideways here. So I think this one is another one that's been very strong during the most recent cycle. While everything's been down like 60% or more. Can't buy pandas as well, but kind of going sideways, not looking as good as the most recent ones we just covered. But again, massive strength and sort of just kind of going sideways and resting after that action. Pepins. You guys know I'm bullish Pepins. I'm rocking the PFP. And I think what Jack Butcher's doing is great. He put out a thread today that I actually need to go read in detail and see what's happening in the ecosystem. But it did bounce off support here. And I think as long as we can continue to hold this level and go sideways, and they continue to drop the alpha on what they see as their vision for Pepins, then I think this could be a pretty good buy for this kind of NFT that still has a lot of anticipation built in with no reveal yet, and a bunch of the AI stuff they're building into the OPEPin sort of structure. So this one is just kind of going sideways for now. CryptoPunks has shocked me on how much weakness it's had in the last recent weeks, as for the longest time it was just going sideways, and we were calling it the stable coin of NFTs. Well, as soon as they were tradable on Blur, everybody began to trade them with the wrapped CryptoPunks with the Blur bidding mechanism, people just started dumping apparently. And now we broke below this channel's support, and this time it wasn't a fake out like it was to the upside. It broke, and it broke down, and it confirmed, right? We've now been below this support level for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, getting below 60 ETH for the first time since last July. So I don't know if we're going to go back all the way down to this like 45-ish support level that we have from way back when. But nonetheless, I think CryptoPunks is a grail in NFTs, and maybe this could be an opportunistic opportunity for a lot of people that have been looking to get into that ecosystem. Pixelmon, we thought this was a rug. What the hell is this doing above 1 ETH again? Apparently there's something special happening, and I haven't seen any official news, but we always know that price equals news. So by the time you find out why this move is happening, it's probably already topped. So be dumb, follow price if you're a trader, and just listen to what the market is doing, right? Especially in NFTs when there's really not much regulation. People are always buying on inside information. So we know that this project Pixelmon was probably the most disastrous project in NFTs in 2022 when they revealed their art after making I can't remember, it was $40 or $50 million at their mint, and dropped trash art, and it just dumped, and everybody was fudding the hell out of this project. That's where Kevin birthed an ultimate meme of the NFT space. But apparently it looks like they're getting their stuff together. They got a new team. They're dropping some pretty quality art now, and apparently there's something special happening. So this is a chart that does not look like some of these other charts that we're going to get into in the short term, where a lot of the other ones are not as strong. Nakamigos, which was the hot NFT of the last couple weeks, looks to finally be losing its hype and its steam, as we know that trying to keep attention in the NFT space is extremely hard, as there's always new things that degens are eyeing and playing and putting their money into. So we broke the trend line. It tried to break above that 0.8 ETH. It could never get above that 1 ETH mark, kind of double topped, and now we're getting back to support area here. I'm not sure if this top forever. I don't know. But again, if you're playing these new projects that are just kind of potentially hot for the short term, you got to expect stuff like this. Gutter Cat Gang, I just needed to show this chart because it's just absolutely been taken to the woodshed. It's gone from literally over 5 ETH to below 1 ETH without like even the slightest relief rally, as you can see. I thought we were going to get one at 1 ETH. I was wrong. Again, that's why I always say never never catch a falling knife, because you just never know how low it can go. So you hate to see Gutter Cat says I was a fan of this project, but there's just not much going on with the team there, and there seems to be a bit of a mismanagement. Artifact clones. Clone X, we know it's Nike, but the market doesn't care. It's gone down for weeks on end. We're still not even seeing a bottom yet. I think we may be getting close. We've reached the original mint price. I minted this Clone X over a year ago at 2 ETH, and we went all the way to 18 ETH, and we're back down to that mint price. So we literally completely round tripped with Clone X, but hopefully we're getting oversold here, and we could see some sort of relief rallies. So Moonbirds as well. You're still not seeing any decent relief rally here, as this thing has been down only. And the same thing with Doodles, weeks on end of just down only. At some point, these things got a relief rally and bounce. But again, don't try to catch a falling knife. Okay, that's the market. As you can see, everything looks horrible, but it looks so bad it may be good, as Mondo likes to say. So let's go into some market dynamic information and charts. First off, I've been seeing a ton of capitulation signs on my Twitter timeline in the last 2 weeks. It's been a while since I've seen this kind of bearishness in the NFT space. Machi Big Brother, which is a whale in the NFT space, and we know he's a huge player in the Blur bid farming, tweeted that he said he wants out of the NFT space for real. I'm not sure if this was a shit post, but I'm going to take it at surface level, because he's not the only one saying shit like this in the space that just kind of wants to get out, or just has taken too many losses that they just cannot continue. I believe he's saying this because Blur pushed their airdrop a month out. He's down over 1,500 ETH thanks to the data from NFT statistics in this cycle with Blur. And maybe he just can't take any more losses. I don't know how rich this guy is. He's obviously very rich, but everybody's got their limits. And the other whale that has been a huge Blur farmer is Franklin. And this is what he tweeted this week. I got rug pulled on an investment I put almost 2,000 ETH into, thinking it was credible due to who else invested. Someone used our money as a casino gambling Ponzi and flushed it down the drain. Please learn any lessons possible from this. And then he says, good morning. Due to an unfortunate in real life issue, I've had to sell off a lot of his Bored Ape. He used to own 69 Bored Apes. It was in his Twitter handle. We all knew how much he owned. That's no longer there. And he had to pay off loans that he took out on his Bored Apes on the platform called BendDAO while the liquidity was available. He says, I won't get involved in NFT trading Twitter for a while and will just focus on my private life for the time being with my remaining apes. It's unfortunate to see Franklin dealing with that situation. But again, you're seeing this sort of capitulation and people just taking the breaks from NFTs. Just because the market has been down so much, they've been trying to farm and they've just lost money instead of make money, and you just hate to see it. But these are the kinds of signs that you see towards the bottom of a market. Shout out to Cyrus, where he says Jimmy.eth, which is another whale, in particular in the Bored Ape Yacht Club ecosystem, who says one of the OGs of Bored Apes and a big contributor to their growth early on, just left hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table, selling off some grails to bids. Confirmed, not a hack too. So what happened is Jimmy, which you can see he tweeted right here that same exact day, he gave us the answer as to why. Why did he sell these apes at such a cheap a price when he could have got more if he just waited just a little bit? He says, the tax man cometh. So I believe tax season is almost done. I think there's a day or two left. And a lot of this selling has probably been due to tax harvesting, people having to sell to pay their taxes from their crypto and NFT gains last year or whatever it may be. I suppose that has a lot to do with also the recent weakness in the space. But he was straightforward and said, yep, I sold all these apes due to tax season. I need to pay these taxes. And he literally left hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table because of this. He could have sold these really rare bored apes for much higher, and he decided to just take the liquidity and sell them at whatever anybody would pay for them right now. So another sign of just people accepting bids and liquidity and sort of just, ruining floor prices. And again, Mondo and OSF were the chads that dumped millions of dollars worth of bored apes onto Machi's head. And they said, when liquidity is plentiful, then you want to sell, right? And when it is scarce, you want to be accumulating. And this is what he's saying right now. He's saying liquidity is starting to get expensive again. Capitulation equals opportunity. Liquidity is really drying up, which means there's opportunity, right? Because with the lack of liquidity, yes, you may not be able to get in and out as fast, but then there's better market arbitrage opportunities due to that you can take advantage of if you put the right bids in the right market on the right pieces. So shout out to Mondo. I completely agree with him. And if you want to see how down bad we are again visually, shout out to NFC Statistics for these incredible charts, where this is the mid-cap index for mid-cap projects and NFTs. We have completely round-tripped since last year's bull market. As you see, this was kind of the euphoria, and we've completely retraced that move. So people are down bad, right? And there's not only capitulation signs via traders, but also on the price. And shout out to NFC Statistics again for this great illustration here, where he says, in the last 90 days, most NFT projects are down 30, 40, 50, 60%. There's very few. The only one is On-Chain Monkey that's up 69%. That is in this mid-cap index. So it's just not been good, and it seems like we're getting just the pain is getting too bad. I wanted to illustrate this because this is also the kind of thing you see when there's just the market sentiment is just really tough and the environment is not going well. So Rafs B, who is the founder of A Kid Called Beast, this NFT project that still manages to somehow have a 0.56 ETH floor, he comes out and says he's having mental health issues. He's no longer having fun. He doesn't want to deal with the social. He wants to build in the background. And he says he's having to deal with community members and people in the NFT space are just sucking the life and joy out of this project. And it sort of sounds like he's trying to quit. But it's just not a good look in general. I hope his mental health space gets better, but I'm sure this is not the only project founder that is dealing with this, especially with angry community members that own your NFTs because price is so down. They're irritated. You may not be delivering as much as they first anticipated. And this is just the kind of environment that we are in. And an incredible report by A16Z, which is the largest crypto fund in the Web3 space in the world. And they put together their beautiful annual report for Web3. And I took some great charts from that report, threw them in here so that we can all kind of know where we're at. So they say after a speculative period, the number of NFT buyers appears to be rising again. As you can see, when prices rose really high, as you could see in that previous mid-cap chart that we showed, that was right around here. When the market topped, obviously people are going to get a little bit less active, but you're starting to see demand come back into the space via wallets. So I think that's another sign that maybe a lot of the paper hands are gone. A lot of the people who just want to make money are gone. And there's a lot more organic demand slowly but surely coming back into the space. So I'm kind of pulling all this information together. Also, some pretty bullish news for crypto. Hong Kong's largest virtual bank to serve as a settlement bank for crypto exchange. And I took this from the article. Hong Kong's crypto drive has been ascending without any major hurdles. It looks like all of the region's digital asset sector plans are finally coming to fruition. And the city's largest virtual bank in Hong Kong is currently enabling, U.S. fiat and cryptocurrency transfers while offering account services to the city's expanding digital asset industry. The founder of Binance, the largest crypto exchange, has some thoughts on this as well. Completely agree with him. He says Hong Kong banks are starting to support crypto. We will see more funds moving there. USDT Tether alone has an $80 billion market cap. More stable coins to come. This is very bullish, right? We know China's huge. They got a ton of people there, billions of people, and if they open up the crypto markets to them, and I've been talking about this over the last several weeks on the show, which I think is a form of anticipation that is bullish for markets, and it just continues to get more bullish and more bullish as the government and the banks, and they continue to open up crypto more and more as time goes on, and I like to stay on top of that. All right, and then Arthur Hayes, who owns a crypto exchange, also runs a crypto fund in his own money. And he was at one of the largest Web3 events in Hong Kong. As you can see, he took a picture. I believe there was thousands of people at this event just recently. So you can see the bullishness happening in Hong Kong, not just from the news, but from the events and actual real people going out there due to real organic interest in the Web3 space. Super bullish. But not that bullish from America standpoint, where this also came from the A16Z State of Crypto 2023 report, where they say America's edge may be slipping. Between 2018 and 2022, the proportion of crypto developers based in the U.S. versus the rest of the world has fell 26%. And as you can see here illustrated, we're just in a downtrend in terms of crypto developers in the U.S. and then top crypto websites, percent of traffic from the United States. It's just going down. The regulation, the government, it's not a supportive environment for entrepreneurs that are building in this tech renaissance. And as you can see in the numbers here, the other countries in the world that maybe are more supportive are sort of taking a lot of that talent. So moving on. Wally, shout out to him, where he says, if any NFT ecosystem has had a real run in the past few weeks, it's been the meme land ecosystem, which we went over with the captains and the potatoes earlier with the charts. And as you can see, they have just completely outperformed all the other NFT projects. And the second best outperformed NFT project has been Azuki, as you can see here in that yellowish line. So really captains and Azukis have been the top performers, and you really want to know where that strength is, because if the market does turn, what's stronger stinks stronger for longer in markets. It's kind of the counterintuitive thought process to what the normal person might think. They might think, oh, I'm too late, but no, that's not true. What's stronger, especially in the early turn, what's stronger stays stronger. So keep captains on your radar, Azuki, and some of these other ones here. But as you can see, mainly all NFT projects has been like sideways or down only. All right, so I think this is a great a piece of data here to watch for future cycles. When stable coins become just when they just rise to such a large market cap, I think that's a sign that the market is becoming too conservative, and the goal of the game is to do the opposite of what the market is doing, what the average participant is doing, right? So if everybody's shoving their money into Safehold USDC, a stable coin backed one-to-one with the dollar, as you can see here, just went absolutely parabolic, then that usually means that the alpha, that what's actually going to happen is risky assets are going to now go up because now all those people are out. So you could see here that at the top, the peak of the USDC market cap top, over $50 billion, you can see that was right here for the Bitcoin chart. And that was right towards the bottom. So stablecoins top, Bitcoin bottom. The only reason we got this was because of FTX. If you look at this on the Ethereum chart, it actually did not make a lower low, but it did with Bitcoin. So as you can see here, topping, bottoming, and it's sort of like a contrarian data point to look at for future cycles. And I just think that was something that we should all continue to look forward to for an edge. So continuing with some really dope charts from A16Z State of Crypto. this is really cool. It's called the State of Crypto Index. This is not based on crypto prices, the coin market caps, none of that. This is based off of actual innovation, developers, and the actual demand that is coming into the space based on actual true metrics. So as you can see here, this is the State of Crypto Index. This one's based on innovation indicators, and this one's based on adoption. And this one's kind of a mixture of all those. As you can see here, this chart looks very bullish, right? And again, this is developers building in the space, demand, supply side, and all that. So actual true value, and looks bullish. So regardless of what prices look like, the State of Index chart looks very bullish, and people continue to build heavily, and some of the smartest and brightest entrepreneurs are still in this space regardless of prices. We already kind of knew this, but just to illustrate again, and this is a main selling point of why a lot of artists originally came to the Web3 space, whether you do music, whether you create digital art, or whether you're just an entrepreneur that building online communities. A lot of people were attracted to the royalties, right, that we thought was encoded into smart contracts. But as soon as we realized that it was not built into contracts and it was more of a social construct, and then the bear market hit, those royalties got very, very low relative to the peak of the bull market, and a lot of people got rich here. But again, there is still it's still enticing for creators to come and get some sort of royalties. So they made over $1.9 billion in royalties during this whole peak cycle. All right, so one of the most bullish things you can see in any tech sector is how many developers are building, and is that number going up or down? So bull markets attract new developers who tend to stick around. Active developers chart, and they're using numbers based on GitHub users who have committed or forked public crypto repositories. So as you can see during the peak bull market, of course, it's going to attract talent and developers because this is where the money and talent is. As the bear market sets in, some developers may go back to their day jobs or whatever it may be. But as you can see here, it's still healthy. That was, pretty euphoric time, so we can expect that. But it's still looking very strong, and hopefully seeing some developers really come into the space and start to see this go parabolic at some point as crypto starts to gain mass adoption at some point. And then again, this is a really important one, right? Because this is the actual smart contracts that the existing developers in the Web3 ecosystem are deploying, which means that they're building stuff, right? So verified smart contracts are at an all-time high, indicating a robust pipeline of product launches. So even though devs might be down a little from peak, even though NFT prices and royalties might be down, smart contracts being deployed into the space are at all-time highs. So don't believe what you see on the news when they say NFTs is dead, crypto is dead. This chart says otherwise. Developers are shipping at higher rates than ever, and that's extremely bullish for the space. And then, of course, active addresses. How many people are actually in Web3? Regular people that are using the products, crypto wallets, NFTs, buying crypto, using DeFi. This is at an all-time high. Active addresses are growing steadily as Web3 adoption increases. And this is tracked between several of the top blockchains, as you can see here. And this is exactly what you want to see. All right, let's jump into some large sales and see where the whales are putting their money to work even during these rough times. It looks like I'm only been talking about Azuki in the large sale category in the last couple shows, but it's just that this is where it's happening at right now. As you can see here, another massive water Azuki sale for over $300,000. And then another one right here, over $340,000 for this Azuki ticket, Spirit, which we know is one of the more rare. Okay. Let's move on into the large sales of the week. We know things have been tough in this environment, but there is still whales putting money to work. Let's find out where that is. So I know I've been talking about Azuki in this category for the last several weeks, but it really is where the massive action has been happening. This water Azuki sold for over $300,000. People are really paying up for rare Azukis right now. As you can see, this Spirit Azuki just sold for over $340,000. This golden Azuki just sold for almost $250,000. This is all this week. And we already had a bunch of grails sale last week. This was huge. Dingaling, who is a massive, massive whale in the NFT space, he traded 2 Azukis for 449 ETH. And what he did with that money was he bought 30 Azukis with that money. He put all that profit or that money back into the ecosystem, which he's extremely bullish, the Azuki project. So you can see here, this was one of them. And this went to Pimp Capital. These two rare NFTs right here, Free Lunch, Pimp Capital. So he said, thank you to Dingaling and Eric for this historic sale. And he spent 329 ETH on 2 NFTs that he bought from Dingaling. This is one of them. Whereas a Fire on Fire Azuki, which is a rare Azuki, this was the second one. So this person, Conviction, which is also an Azuki holder, he brokered this deal between Dingaling and Pimp Capital. So over $850,000 for just 2 NFTs, extremely rare Azukis from Pimp Capital. He's got a ton of conviction in this project. And so does Dingaling, because he took that $855,000 and put it all back into the ecosystem. Pretty wild. And I want to take this from NFT Statistics, where he says this was one of 2 of the largest sales ever for Azuki. So, and this I feel like I'm saying this every week. There's records on records being broken in the Azuki NFT ecosystem. It's just wild to see. Another one where Dingaling illustrates here that this mysterious buyer, a random fresh crypto wallet that had no previous transactions, somehow has 800 ETH in it and just scoops up 32 Azukis and 192 beans, which are also NFTs in the Azuki ecosystem, in just 2 days. So quite impressive action. I haven't seen this kind of bullishness in the project in a very long time. And special things we know could happen when enough whales get behind an NFT project. So shout out to Michael, where he says, even when the top Azuki collectors sell, they don't leave the ecosystem. Everything goes right back in. Grail.eth sells a Grail, sweeps 17. Ice Coffee sells a Grail, sweeps 11 Azukis. Dingaling sells 2 and buys 30. Very bullish action. Moving on to a Mega Coda sale. That was another deed, which is a piece of land from Yuga Labs Metaverse. Just sold for 212 ETH to Journey Crypto, who is a whale and a massive Bored Ape Yacht Club holder. And as you can see, he has a ton of conviction in the Yuga Labs ecosystem as he just continues to double down in that space. Huge sale here. And then the actual Journey Club Twitter handle says, our other side meta resource collection, we are proud to build. So he's been collecting other sides and hoping to get rare resources, so when the metaverse opens, he is looking to build actual experiences in the metaverse, and he's invested heavily into this bet. Shout out to NFT Statistics again, where he illustrates that digital art and generative art, which are considered grails, are continuing still to be sold at very low prices relative to history, and people are accepting bids still. So nothing has changed for that. 2 Fidenza sales this week, one at 50 ETH, one at 41 ETH. These are low prices for these, as these are considered grails in the NFT system. All right, this was absolutely huge. Shout out to Jake, where he says Winkle Pepe sold for $630,000. This actual picture right here is an NFT. Yes, this was a sale. And you might be thinking, what the hell is going on here? Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. And luckily, I was able to find a bit of information of why this NFT sold for 20 Bitcoin and what makes it so rare and special. So shout out to Pango, where he was really schooling us and teaching us on what was happening here. So he says, the last one of one rare Pepe sold, as you can see from this previous tweet in 2021, sold for $3.65 million at a Sotheby's auction. And so what he's saying is there's only 7 originally issued one of one rare Pepes. And this was one of them. Apparently this was the 8th. But it's really considered like it was burned from a half to become a full one of one in 2016. And it's sort of like an honorary 8th of this really rare one of one rare Pepe collection of just 7 pieces. And he illustrates here that the last one of one rare Pepe sold at a higher price than almost all of X Copy's work, which we know is one of the top crypto artists in the world. So I learned something this week on this. And further information on this, and you can go read the blog where he says this is where all the info is. Rare Pepes is a collection of 1,774 cards issued by 100 different artists between the years 2016 and 2018. And this was minted on Bitcoin protocol called Counterparty, which is basically an earlier version of Ordinals, which we talked about on the show a lot, which is really where a lot of the Bitcoin NFT action is happening now, today. All right, moving forward. It's not always large sales, but sometimes not cool shit happens in the NFT space, and this is one of them. Des Bryant, the NFT collector, who is an NFL player previously, he was a huge proponent of NFTs and still is, but he would rock this as his PFP online, and he recently just got hacked this week. So this Bored Ape got hacked out of his wallet. And then the hacker flipped the NFT for an 83 ETH profit. You hate to see it. Sorry, Des. I really thought you were doing cool shit in NFTs, and I hope you stay. The meme land ecosystem is not only on fire, but there is a record sale in the meme land ecosystem. They have 3 collections. It's the potatoes, it's the captains, and then it's the very, very scarce and elite NFTs, which sell for now apparently 58 ETH. And it's called Yuta Real MVPs. So where does this sale stand in previous MVP sales in the meme land ecosystem? Well, it's an all-time high record. Shout out the NFC statistics for this data here. But as you can see, there's been some pretty large buys in that ecosystem. And there's just not many of these. These are meant for more of like their super fans of their whole ecosystem that they got going on. But this is an all-time high. So that was pretty cool to see. We had this on the show a couple weeks ago where a skin sold for about like $300,000 or $400,000. And it's happened again. The most expensive gun skin in the video game CSGO just sold for $400,000. And you might be thinking, well, what the hell is going on here? Well, it seems like the sale included a Karambit case hardened blue gem knife, which by itself is approximated to be worth $100,000. So the entire sale was roughly $500,000. So they bought this and the knife. They spent $500,000. These aren't even NFTs, right? Because NFTs you can own and you can move from platform to platform technically. This is just a skin that you own in a closed ecosystem video game. If this game stops making games, you can't do anything with this. You can't move it anywhere, right? Somebody spent $500,000 on that. So it goes to show that gamers, even though gamers hate on NFTs, they're essentially buying NFTs without them even having the perks of being an NFT. And shout out to Moon where he says, if we have learned anything from NFTs, this is probably the top for the CSGO digital economy. The nothing can break that $400,000 to $500,000 range. CryptoPunks, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and other high-end art blocks, generative art sales have stalled out there, which I think is actually a pretty cool insight. I've never really thought of it, but he's right. A lot of the top grail NFTs have all topped out in that price range. And maybe there's something there, right? Maybe psychologically, like that's where rich people are willing to spend money, and anything above that that's just too insane. But I thought that was interesting. And if you want to see a visual of like how much and over time how much skins have gone up in price, this is a cool chart that's been circulating online where skins have just gone up and up and up, and people have been paying up for it. So maybe he's right. Maybe this is getting toppy. I don't know. I don't know too much about the skin market for video games and the CS:GO collectibles, but this thing seems to be up only. Okay, that's the market and what's hot. Let's move into new mints. New mints that dropped this week and new mints that are up and coming. So if you want to be a part of that, you'll be on top of it. So shout out to Giancarlo, where he's always putting out the new mints of the week. We know that a few of these have been on here for a while, which I'm really excited for. The Project Animus from Clonex, Fuwo World, and also 10KTF PFP is dropping, which I think is going to be really interesting since they're now owned by Yuga and Starbucks, of course, their big Odyssey project. So the new drop from the Cyber Brokers NFT project ecosystem is happening soon on the 19th, where it's been a year-long process, and you're going to be, what's cool about it is you're going to be able to assemble your mechs using the parts that you hold, right? They're customizable, and they're immediately going to be metaverse ready. And Cyber Brokers is already partnered with Mona, which is a metaverse company, and this is what this is sort of what they're going to look like, right? So you'll be able to own it and be able to become that actual NFT in a 3D version in a metaverse. So they talk about assembling, right? So you'll get the different body parts and assemble your own mech. Also, we had the Reddit drop this previous week. It did not go well. Redditors were really pissed off. A lot of the drops got botted, and true owners of these NFTs, they weren't able to purchase. So you hate to see it, but nonetheless, it shows that there's massive demand, even for people who are not into crypto, right? The Reddit users are just thinking these are kind of like digital collectibles, but yes, they are NFTs. So one of the artists is the famous artist who created the very famous nylon cat meme, who he has turned into NFTs. Dropped his piece of art. The floor is at 0.123. For some reason, I really want this. I don't know why, but I've seen the meme over the last several years, and I've really enjoyed it, and I feel like just owning one would be super cool. So that's how the Reddit drop went. Let's move on to the alpha from WagMeSun, straight from the 10KTF Twitter, where he says, how many times do I have to tell y'all? G tags are going to become the 10KTF PFP. Use G tags wisely throughout season 2. I believe G tags are around 1 ETH, and I'm interested to see what price this ends up selling at once the PFPs are revealed. And I do think this project is going to be deeply integrated into other sides. So I'm excited about that. As we know, Yuga bought the entire 10KTF NFT project and team. So huge stuff that I think is going to be coming out of there. Moonbirds, they hinted at some new art, and they said preparing for transport. I don't know exactly what this is related to, but they have a drop up and coming, and I'm actually a huge fan of this art, so I'm hoping that that's related to that. Keep an eye out for that. So we know Adidas bought a Bored Ape a long time ago. They had a partnership with Yuga Labs, the owner of Bored Apes, and also a couple of other projects in the space, and they have brought this Bored Ape to life. This video, which I encourage you to watch, it's incredible, 3D, really well made, and they're starting to build a story behind this Bored Ape and the Adidas NFT project. So you could go and watch the full trailer, and these are some of the details. Where essentially at the end of the chapter 3, you'll get a unique PFP consisting of countless trait combinations with a rarity rank. So there's going to be 8 different alter egos with different rarities. And you're going to be able to, get a different sort of rarity and alter ego for yourself. It's a bit kind of complex. They try to make it easy by creating this illustration here. This is the universal utility for these NFTs called alts by Adidas. I'm not going to read it off. Go ahead and pause it and check out the utility if you'd like to. But you can see these are going to be all the different alter egos or rarities. And all the benefits that you would get from holding this NFT with the Adidas company, right? So whether that's exclusive access to drops or in real life events or whatever it may be, but take a look at that. I think they're actually doing a really well done job with that alts drop, and they've now got my attention. So keep an eye out for Adidas in the NFT space. Last but not least, let's jump into the biggest Web3 news of the week. This I don't even know how to feel about. Twitter announced this week that they will be enabling crypto and stock trading right off of the Twitter platform in partnership with eToro. So as if people weren't gambling enough, I'm now going to be able to just buy crypto straight off of Twitter as I'm scrolling. I guess this is bullish. More people are buying our bags, but I'm interested to see how this ends up. Also, the first crypto cell phone has officially hit the market. Saga by Solana is coming out. It's shipping on April 20th. It's going to be $1,000. Of course, that is very expensive, right? You can buy an Apple cell phone right now for that price. That's probably much more advanced. But again, it's a first product. They probably got to price it high to raise some sort of money. And I'm really interested to see it hit the market, see people's feedback, test it if I can. They have crypto systems built directly into it, which a lot of the Apple and Android phones they're not crypto friendly. A lot of the crypto apps aren't able to do what they want to do. They're restricted. It's not as secure with your crypto wallet when you're purchasing digital goods. So I think it's very interesting the direction Solana took with this mobile phone. It's not a surprise because the founder of Solana actually used to work at Qualcomm that used to make chips for a lot of the cell phones. So it kind of makes sense. He has expertise in this field, and maybe this could be an edge for them, but excited to see that. And then shout out the Roadblocks, where they essentially dropped NFTs in the game that are actually not technically NFTs, but they operate exactly like them. So Roadblocks adds rare resellable digital items, but they're not NFTs. The hit game's new items come in limited quantities and can be resold with creator royalties enforced. That part is dope, and that part they took from Web3, but they're saying they're not NFTs. So let's go into the details here. So the goods called limiteds can also be resold by Roblox users at any price of their choosing, with 10% cut of each secondary sale going to the original creator. This is huge, right? So like if you create something, a digital item in the Roblox video game, and it can be now bought and sold on the secondary market, and you make 10% on that item in perpetuity. So every time your item is sold over and over and over again over time, you're going to get a 10% cut every time. So that's essentially how NFTs have been working. And Roblox seems to be enforcing that same style. But they're not NFTs. They're centralized digital items within a closed gaming ecosystem that Roblox controls. All right, so we know NFT NYC was this week. This is sort of like the Super Bowl of NFTs that happens every year in New York, where a lot of the NFT projects throw events, throw parties, and everybody sort of leaves the digital world and meets in real life, right? All right, let's talk about DeGods. NFT NYC was this week, and this is sort of like the Super Bowl for NFTs. Every year it happens in New York, where a lot of the larger NFT projects, the digital art platforms and communities all come together to throw events and parties and to meet and enjoy real life experiences. This is a screenshot of some of the pictures from the DeGods events going on out in New York. It looks like the community really had a blast out there, and they really have a strong community. There's people getting tattoos of DeGods, exclusive parties that only if you own this $18,000 NFT do you get access to. But this is a lot of things as was happening. And, even though there's a bear market, I heard the attendance and the parties were off the chain. So shout out to NFT NYC this year. This is some of the largest news in the NFT space this week. Azuki announces a partnership with the company Line Friends, also known as IPX, which is a global character brand that was originated from the Line messaging app, which apparently this is a very popular app in Asia that has over 200 million users, which is insane because I don't know how I've not heard about it with that many users. But as you can see here, this is the official announcement, and this is directly from the Azuki Twitter, where they're announcing the collaboration between these two. And they state that we are thrilled to announce our partnership with IPX, a global IP platform that created the popular Line Friends characters loved by millions worldwide, starting as stickers on the Line messaging app, 200 million monthly users. Line Friends characters have become globally recognized IP. So apparently a lot of these characters are extremely well known in Asian households, which I was not familiar with, but is a huge partnership for Azuki. So they continue to say IPX has revolutionized their character IP business by forging innovative partnerships and collaborations with the world's most renowned brands such as BTS, Netflix, and Starbucks. So this brand is larger than I would have anticipated that Azuki does their first partnership with, but that's huge. Shout out to Azuki, man. Like I said, price equals news. People probably knew about this, and it's probably why Azuki's been so strong, probably why people are buying Grails, or maybe not. But nonetheless, you can't deny the strength that's happening in Azuki right now and that the level the team is executing. Okay. This caused a lot of fun in the NFT space towards Goblins, which is owned by Trust Lab. So they said, starting today, the metadata for all Goblin Town, Secret Society, and the 187 and Grimples have been refreshed. We are upgrading the contract for all ERC-721s or NFTs in the Truth ecosystem. And so imagine you wake up and your precious Goblin Town NFT is now the picture of this middle finger with more middle fingers, right? And it says, fuck royalties, fuck supporting builders and creatives. Flipping is the heart of what makes Web3 special. Honor the flipper. Fuck the community. Long live the rug, the slow rug. So essentially, the NFT space figured out that royalties were sort of like tips at a restaurant. You decide to tip or you do not decide to tip. It is not forced. As soon as the market realized this and all the rich people during the bull market realized this, they stopped paying royalties. Artists and NFT projects stopped making that income that was supporting them. And since then, a lot of projects are migrating those previous NFTs to new contracts so they can go ahead and then enforce royalties onto the new contracts that then the NFT platforms will support, like OpenSea and Blur. So we've already seen this with a lot of NFT projects that are newer or have migrated to enforceable royalty contracts, and they want their royalties, right? Right now, many NFT projects are not making money, and these royalties are sustaining them. So it's not a surprise. What is a surprise and what the community was fudding was that they forced you to migrate to the new NFT. They didn't do it like DGods, which I think was done correctly, where DGods enticed you to go to the next, to the newer version of the NFT by giving you prizes if you migrated quicker, and really incentivize you to do it in different ways. But Truth Labs and Goblin Town is taking a different strategy. They're saying, we're forcing you, right? We're going to change the Goblin's art, and if you don't switch over to the new Goblin NFTs, you're just going to have a picture of literally this. This is what the Goblins are. Once the migration was complete this week, this is what your art turned into. Who's going to want to hold that, right? So they're essentially forcing you to change contracts, which kind of begs the question that these NFTs are not even decentralized if the teams could just change the art at any time. So the metadata has been updated on our old Goblin Town NFTs. Airdrops have been completed, and we are waiting on exchanges to migrate the full collection information. Then the migration will be over. We will update you when that happens. So I don't think that was the right strategy. I get that they want the royalties, but the community, from what I saw, the community wasn't that thrilled either. But I'm sure that most of them will migrate and be happy with it. Okay, so there was a Bruce Lee NFT launch this week, And you might say, well, who would want to buy a Bruce Lee NFT? Well, not 48,000 people, but 48,000 NFTs were minted, which is more than I anticipated. A very successful drop. I mean, they were priced low at 0.008. And this is the art of the NFT that you were getting. But it goes to show that so many people still love Bruce Lee, but not only that they're willing to buy a cheap NFT that has no promises in return in terms of utility back to you, that they just want to collect, right? So congrats on Pleaser DAO and the founder of this Web3 video studio for this successful drop. Okay. Another big piece of news is Cool Cats announces a strategic partnership with Futureverse to accelerate Web3 innovations. And what kind of partnership is this? This is not only a partnership. This is swapping ownership. So these teams are really bought into each other now. To reinforce their joint capabilities to scale within and beyond the Web3 space, the two entities will change minority ownership interests. Futureverse co-founders and Shara and Aaron will join the Cool Cats board of directors, and then vice versa, the chairman of Cool Cats will join the Futureverse board of directors as part of the new partnership deal. And then they showed you a sneak peek of Cool Cats and the Futureverse metaverse in the 3D art. So pretty big news. All right, that's everything that we have for you in Web3 this week, all in one place. Thank you for sticking with me during the show. I'm Serpunk. We just finished episode 10 of Web3 Weekly Alpha, where we go over everything in the wonderful world of Web3. We will see you guys next week. Powered by Web3 CFL and InnerSpace. Peace.
I was living a dream. Now I'm on Web3. And it is what it seems. Topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I